up guys, Al here from AM Train. So I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers that came over from Travis S's channel. I really do appreciate him giving me a shout out, but there are two things that I should warn you about, guys. Is that first of all, I don't do any food porn, so unfortunately I know you guys came from his channel and he does some crazy things with ricotta cheese, but for me, I pretty much have a boring diet. It's nothing really spectacular. It's kind of plain Jane. So I don't even count my macros, I count my calories. But and then the second thing that you should know about is that the only reason why he gave me a shout out is because I give him a discount for my Gay for Pay videos. Okay, I don't give him a big discount, he actually gets it for free. But let's go ahead and move on to this video, this topic of Valsalva. I actually recorded this earlier in my gym today, but just looking back at the video, I wasn't happy with it because I kind of start to rant on and kind of talk with a little bit, bigger words than I feel like I want to get a target audience. And I feel like all the big words I use, it's nice that we could communicate that way, but I feel like I could hit a broader audience if I talk a little bit more simpler. Kind of like, I'm surrounded by physical therapists all day, and they use big words, and I really do appreciate that they think that I can keep up with them, which is very, very nice that they do that. But there's only so much that it's like, really, did you just use dysdiadochokinesis in your sentence? Like, that's like a huge word, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel like, I keep saying like, that's my vocabulary. I feel like it's a little bit overkill. So. And dysdiadochokinesis, if you're interested, is like a fancy word for being uncoordinated. And anyways, never mind. It's this. If you can't do this, then you have dysdiadochokinesis. Anyways, let's go and move on to the Valsalva. So let's go ahead and go kind of based off of my last video, risk versus reward. Let's talk about the risks of Valsalva. I always hear physical therapists say, don't do the Valsalva, don't hold your breath, it's dangerous, you're going to get stroke, you're going to blow an aneurysm, you're going to have your high blood pressure. And that's good and dandy because they work in the field of health. And so doctors and physical therapists and other nurses, they're going to tell you, don't hold your breath, don't do the Valsalva, it's dangerous. So that's good and dandy because their emphasis is health. They want you to not get a stroke. They want you to they want to limit the risk as much as possible. Yeah, so their first rule of thumb is do no harm. So basically, that is their goals. For us meatheads, our reward is getting a nice stable spine. So if you guys aren't familiar with the Valsalva maneuver, it's basically breathing through your diaphragm as much as you can and pushing up against either a closed epiglottis or a closed throat or mouth, and pushing into it and really creating an intra-abdominal pressure. And that's going to help stabilize that spine during lifting, and you will minimize the risk of getting a herniated disc or injuring your back. It's nice and rigid. So the risk is basically that, I will say, let me go ahead and address that risk. So the risk for Valsalva maneuver is that you do increase your blood pressure. I believe it's going to be how you have 120/80 is the regular blood pressure. You can actually have that top number go up to 200. And that is actually, it's definitely risky, but you have to understand that coughing, sneezing, going to the bathroom after you have so many Quest bars, because that's a lot of fiber, you're going to be pushing pretty hard, and that's the same thing as the Valsalva. Your blood pressure is going to spike up. You can even blow an aneurysm or blow a little. Get a stroke from blowing your nose, because there has been studies that blowing your nose can create that kind of pressure. So it's kind of like throwing the baby out of the bathwater. No, throwing the baby with the bathwater. It's kind of going too far. Same thing with the Valsalva is that you can definitely get, it can be a part of a risk, but I say that that's why we train, that's why we weightlift, is that any kind of adaptation that we're looking for is that we have to constantly put our body through it. So that's why we weightlift, is that we are going to adapt to that certain stress. Same thing with the Valsalva and pushing through. So therefore, the more constantly that we do it, the more that our bodies are going to adapt. So there are certain phases in the Valsalva maneuver where, let's talk about the first two for this video. The first phase is that the initial Valsalva, where you breathe in and really create that pressure your blood pressure will spike up. But then about 5 seconds from there, your body's going to sense that spike in blood pressure, and also your heart rate's going to drop. So it's going to actually take account of that, because there are different little receptors in your heart, specifically the aorta arch. There's little things that kind of determine the amount of pressure, and your body is always wanting to stay middle, homeostasis, kind of wants a nice, even blood pressure throughout the whole time. It doesn't want to have those spikes, so that's why in phase 2 it actually drops down, and you're kind of back to baseline, around baseline, but there's some other funky stuff in the phases, but basically it spikes up and then it drops down. So that is about 5-7 seconds, you're going to have that spike in blood and that pressure. But those, like I said, if you do it more often, then you'll be able to adapt. I mean, that's Wolff's Law at its finest, and that's progressive overload at its finest. So you can definitely stroke out from pushing too hard. I mean, you'll hear it all the time where, you know, older people will have a stroke on the bathroom because they ate too many Quest bars, and they will have a stroke because they're pushing so hard. But I say if they were able to train and progressively overload that Valsalva maneuver, they would be able to go to the bathroom clean as a whistle. So that's why I think Valsalva is important. And I do suggest that beginners should learn the Valsalva in the beginning, because then they can progressively get stronger Valsalva as the weight of their bar gets higher. So then they can progressively and safely do the Valsalva while maintaining and adapting to it. I mean, that's why we train. I mean, you wouldn't have a beginner straight up squat 500 pounds or get under the bar of 500 pounds. So same thing there. That's why I feel like people that say that doing the Valsalva is dangerous, yeah, if you don't adapt to it, or if you do it too quick, you might feel that dizziness. That's why you need to make sure that you properly do it and you properly have a program for it, and really make sure that it is safe, so you minimize the risk and really have that reward. So the reward that I said is that nice stable spine. You'll be able to squat more, and that is what us meatheads really want to optimize. And so with that, let's go ahead and talk about two things that really helped me from elite lifters. So Chad Wesley Smith, he talks about really squeezing the butt cheeks as you breathe out, and really not just anteriorly or forward, because that's what I used to do in the beginning as I go forward, but I didn't really have anything, I didn't feel tight in the back. So what he suggests is tighten and squeeze the butt cheeks and really breathe through the back is what he says. So you really imagine a full belt all the way around, not just forward, because I used to go straight forward, and then also another one from Chris Duffin. So I combined the two, is that this cue just really kind of hit home for me personally, is really imagine all that air pressure pushing down and bearing down, and then that will also give you that nice even one, and really brace the abs as tight. Because I used to breathe as much as possible and then break from there, but I think for me specifically is bracing tight and breathing as deep as I can with that flex. I feel like I can really push through and have a more stable spine. So I don't know, those tips are personally what works for me. You can go ahead and try them out while you poop out a Quest bar. Anyways, train hard, train smart, guys. Ah.